Well, welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my world. Welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. You know, everybody needs a little TLC. And I am Cedrick LaFleur, your host, and I'm excited for you to be with us tonight. We have a great guest with us in the studio tonight. So I'm going to introduce her in just a little bit. But, you know, Talk Leadership with Cedrick is where we focus on leadership, personal growth, with business leaders, educators, and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. You know, our guiding leadership principle is the law of contribution, which says growing yourself enables you to grow others. See, you can't give what you don't have. So first, you must grow yourself in order to grow others. Now, we believe that outstanding leaders like yourself will help us to help others. So tonight, folks, tonight, we have a dynamic leader in studio with us. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to have you here. So guys, you know, every week I like to do a proper introduction of my guests. So let me do a proper introduction of Miss Michelle Burkhard. Michelle is the owner of Grow by One, a company committed to helping clients grow by one intentional step every single day. Not some days, not most days, not every other day, but every single day in order to surpass their present goals. She helps clients transform their pain, whether it's leadership pain, relationship pain, or emotional pain, into a servant for themselves and for others. Her experience includes extensive work in the education field for over 20 years, and she is a highly requested speaker and trainer in 7 different time zones. Now, you know, that's a bad woman right there, 7 time zones.
Right.
Her passion for seeing others reach their own personal and professional goals fuels her work as a coach as she serves clients all over the world. Michelle is finishing her PhD in education, and her study focuses on influence of coaching on classroom quality. She helps education influencers increase their ability to lead well by teaching them transformational leadership strategies that they can use for themselves and for others. Now, when not studying, and you can see she's very busy, but when she's not studying or serving others, she enjoys actively engaging at home with her husband, Josh, of 18 years, and their 3 teenagers, Josiah, Hannah, and Eliana. So welcome, Miss Michelle Burkhard, to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for you to be here. You know, I troll Facebook pages from time to time, and I like to see other people who are doing things and who are actively out there engaging. And you're definitely one of those that's actively out there engaging. And I love that. So, you know, I read your bio, Michelle, right? But our audience also like to hear from you. What got you to where you are today?
Oh man, that's a big question. Yeah, so I started off in my journey. I had a rough start in life. I'm not going to tell you everything, but a rough start. Okay. Things did not come easy for me. And that really kind of set me up for a conversation I had in high school with a coach of mine. I was in everything in high school because I figured out real soon that if you were in everything, you stuck around long enough, somebody would feed you. And that was really important to me at that time. And so I was just in my junior year and a coach said, "Hey, Michelle, where are you going to go to college?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, What do you mean? What do you mean? Where are you going to college? And I was like, why would I go to college? Like, I literally had no idea. After graduation, I did not know what the next day was going to be. And he's like, you're a 4.0 student. You're in all this stuff. Why would you not go to college? And I was like, I don't know anybody who's ever gone to college. I don't know. Wow. And so he was very instrumental in helping me. And so we went to college, found out, you know, the life I was living as a kid was only one option, that I could choose many other things. And so I got married, kind of did the whole that path, right? And then I went right into teaching. I loved being a teacher. I was a classroom teacher for a number of years, and then I got into administration, really caught the leadership bug. Realized at that time, though, that as an administrator, the trainings I was going to was teaching me how to manage, how to fill out paperwork, how to, write the grants, but it wasn't teaching me how to lead people. And that is actually when I got hooked onto John Maxwell's material. So he's been my guy for many, many years. And I absolutely loved it. And then we had a series of just life changes, kids started coming, that kind of thing. And about 11 years ago, I had a stroke. Just flat out had a stroke. I was normal one morning, and then by the end of the evening, I was hospitalized and I had a stroke. And it took me 2 years to recover. And out of that time, I had doctors tell me I wouldn't be able to walk again without a walker, wouldn't be able to talk without a speech impediment, and I wouldn't be able to get beyond a 10th grade cognitive level.
Oh, wow.
So now these days, my job is as a speaker and a trainer. I do actually in 2020, I did 300 events. So I think I got the speaking thing down, and I can clearly walk. I don't have to use a walker. I've been running 5Ks ever since. Wow. And I am this close to finishing up with my PhD dissertation. So I'm very excited about that. And so now I decided, after 15 years in education, I just felt like there was something else that was calling me, that I could really step out of those prescribed roles into more of a role where I could consult and I could teach and train. So I've been doing that and absolutely loving it, and just enjoying life, quite frankly.
Wow. So you had this stroke.
Yeah.
And your doctor said you would never walk without a walker. It said you won't be able to get higher than a 10th grade cognitive skills, I guess.
Yep.
And now you are speaking in 7 different time zones.
Yes.
Just close to having your PhD.
Yeah.
You see how it's amazing. Now, I know your doctors meant well and they were doing their thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're not talking bad about them, but you can see how that can make someone say, okay, woe is me. Life has me down. Right. I'm not going to do anything. But you said, no way, that is not going to be my truth, right?
Yeah. And I'll be honest, it was one of the first times in my life when I was confronted with something such as that. And I said, no, I'm not going to listen to that. Just like I listened to my coach in high school when he said, you can do greater things. And I was like, oh, well, that's an option. Okay, let's do that. This time I just said, yeah, no, I'm not going to live a life where I have a 1, 3, and 5-year-old and I can't take care of them and I can't take care of myself. I just choose not to do that. Mm-hmm. And I just let, my therapist and everything said, Michelle, we've got the doctor's report right here. They're saying that these things that you want to do are impossible. I think we should back off on the plan. And I said, that's okay. We're just going to do the impossible. So if you're not okay with that, that's okay. Just go somewhere else, because this is what we're doing now. Yeah. Wow,
that is a powerful story, Michelle. Thanks for sharing it. You said you were going to tell us everything, but
there's a whole lot more that goes to that, for sure.
Awesome, I love it. So you're the owner of Grow by One.
Yeah.
So tell us, about Grow by One. Who is Grow? I mean, not who is Grow by One, but what does Grow by One do?
Yeah, so really we work with leaders. Mostly our niche, if you will, probably about 60% are education leaders. That's my background. That's what I know. And then the rest of the people are business owners or entrepreneurs. So my weird little niche is that I teach educators how to think like entrepreneurs. Those two mindsets don't go together, so they need to learn that a little bit. And then I also teach entrepreneurs how to think like educators. So instead of just selling a product, how can you really step out in a service and educated role with your clients a little bit more?
Awesome. All right,
Yeah,
all right.
we have online classes. We have courses. I have a membership group for leaders. I was just recording some content for them today. We do weekly lessons and get together as a group. It's a very dynamic group. I really love that group. And then with the pandemic, not a lot of traveling has gone on since then,
Right.
but I've been able to still speak at 300 separate events, and I'm very excited to do that.
Wow. So during the pandemic, you spoke at 300 events.
Correct.
See, folks. So Michelle, now some our audience, are people that's in the leadership development space.
Yep.
People that think that the pandemic has stopped their business and they can't go forward. You just said during the pandemic,
Yep.
you spoke at 300 events.
Yes.
Folks, I want you to understand. You see, this is why Michelle is on the show. I want you to understand, folks, that regardless of what's happening, if you're intentional and consistent, opportunities come your way. Great things happen in your business. This is awesome.
Yeah. And if you're a servant leader, that is really, really key, because I know people who are out in the space and they're trying to do everything, all the things to make the money.
Mm-hmm.
When the pandemic first started, I said, okay, there's people at great need. Leadership needs me. And so I said, how can I change my systems and processes so that I can be in the space to help them? And that's what I did for the first 2 or 3 months. I just said, okay, listen, I've been kind of working from home. I know how to work from home. I work with remote teams all the time. Let me just start talking about that. And the leadership aspects of pivoting your business and understanding how to problem solve, all of the things that I do for myself and I do with my clients. I just said, yeah, now's the time to really take that out. And then after a few months of people like, oh, I think I've got this under my belt. Then I turned the focus onto, okay, how do I grow my impact? Because the one number that I track a lot of numbers, but the one that's the most important to me is the impact number. So what's my audience? Who's engaging with my work? How many people come to my events? And I had in my live events in 2019, I had some time off, but I only had 15,000 people at my different events. And I was like, interesting. But for 2020, I had 57,000 people at my events. And I was like, there might be something to this. So perhaps I need to pivot too.
Wow. Folks, you may not be picking up on the nuggets Michelle is dropping, but she's dropping a lot of nuggets. We might have to put our PayPal link up here because this is too good. You have to pay for this. So what separates your business, Michelle, from other businesses in the industry?
That's a good question, because I don't feel like I am in competition with anybody. I never feel like that. I just feel like there's always somebody else to serve. My philosophy is I have a very large toolbox. I really do. If you need strategic planning, sure, let's do that. Business organization development, sure, let's do that. You've got an issue with your teenage daughter, let's talk about that. The toolbox is very, very large, but the philosophy that I use is I travel to all these places with my toolbox and I listen very intently. What's the issue? What's the problem? What's the challenge? How would you like my help? And then we take a tool out and we say, is this the tool that you need? And I think that's what really separates me from a lot of people out in the same space today, is that my job is just to figure out which tool do you need and provide that in the best way that you want, rather than giving you kind of my canned, this is, do you need a diversity training? Do you need this? Do you need that? And I take great pride and privilege in that I get to serve people in that way. Wow.
I really love that analogy that you use, that you're see, my background is in sales, right? And in sales, we believe that you have to have a toolbox and you got different tools in there, and every customer has a different need for each one of your tools. And so I love the analogy. So what makes you smile when you get up in the morning?
I'm really, really in a space right now where I have been through many times in my life being the doer, and achieve, reach the goal. And I've done some wonderful, brilliant things. I know I have. And I'm in this space right now, the last few months, of getting up in the morning and saying, what do I want to do today? Not what goal do I need to reach, but what do I want to learn? How do I want to have fun today? I'm really allowing myself the space just to enjoy life. Yesterday we had a little bit of a rainstorm, and I went outside and I realized that for the first time in my life, that when I was standing in the rain, it wasn't I was getting wet. It was I was feeling the rain and connecting with it. And it just little tiny pockets of joy throughout my day. Those are the things I'm living for.
So you're literally dancing in the rain yesterday.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that. When you get to a place where you are, I don't know, some people call it self-actualization, but you're just happy with yourself and who you are and the value that you're adding out in the world, you can dance in the rain like that and feel joy. Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with, that you've got a full bank account or that you've met all of those things, because that's not the case. I'll be honest that last year I had 90 live events get canceled. 90. So, and all of those speaker fees.
Yeah.
So, if you look at my bank account right now, it's not looking too good. We're recovering it. It'll all be fine. But when you get to this place inside, and I think that that's really, really important, because we can talk about professional development all day long, but it's the personal development. When you can get to that place where you can take those moments throughout the day and feel genuine peace and joy, you have made it. There is no other goal that you need to reach for. There is no more money that you need to make. You just need to enjoy it.
Yes, absolutely. Stopping and smelling the roses sometimes with where you are. Wow, you're just adding so much value to our audience today. I'm loving this. You have this skill of note taking. Now, I have none of that skill. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I don't have that skill, but I have seen a lot of your note taking skills. And did you always realize that you had that skill?
No. So I, being in education, all these degrees and everything, I used to be the person that I would try to write down everything that everybody would say. I would try to get a transcript, because somehow that was going to teach me what I needed to know. And I'd say probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I realized that was just a frantic, frenetic thing, and it wasn't really serving me, because I would be at an event, be listening to a great speaker like John Maxwell, write down all of these wonderful things, and then I'd never go look back at the notes. And I was like, what is that? That's not even helping me. And so then I would say, okay, well, I'll take notes that way, but at the end, I'll just reflect. Okay, what were the key points? All right, well, that was helpful, but then I never went back and looked at the key points. I was like, okay, something's got to give here. So several different iterations of note taking. And now it's to the point where I'm listening for my one thing. What's the one thing I need to know? Not all the things, just the one thing for right now. And then I get this image in my head. Now, I'm not necessarily an artist, okay? Everybody thinks I'm an artist. No, not really. In Google, you can search for an icon for anything. If you search an icon, it's very simple, okay? But I know, hey, oh man, that what he was talking about, that's a beautiful tree. Search my icon, draw my tree, put down 1 or 2 points. And that process of doing it like that literally gets it in my head, and I remember. So I don't have to go back and look at my notes. But in a weird twist of events, when I do it like that, I remember, where is that picture of the tree on the page? And if I ever need to go back to look at it, I'll be looking for it and I'll find it really quick. So it's a way to just internalize what I'm hearing, not all the things, just the one thing I need to know.
So you can block out all the noise, if you will.
Yes.
And get to that one thing with that. Yeah. And folks, when I say note taking, I don't just mean writing words on a page. It comes off like art, and it's just amazing that you have that ability to do that. Like I said, I have none of that ability. Well,
your notes could look great if you just use colored pens, Cedrick. Just grab some colored pens.
Okay, I'll try that. What do you say is stopping people from being the best version of themselves? Now, let me put some context around that, right? Because when I hear you speak right now, um, I can tell that you are living your why right now. You're living in your space right now, right? It comes across, and the audience probably feels it. That person that's sitting on that sofa right now going, man, that lady right there is on it. But what do you think is stopping some people from living that best part of themselves?
Yeah. So I could really just do a dissertation on that. Honestly, I could give you all kinds of reasons, but what it really boils down to is awareness. Now, awareness has nothing to do with intelligence. So you can be a very intelligent person and not be aware of certain things. Mm-hmm. And some people would say, oh, it's making a choice. So for example, going to college without that high school professor saying, hey, did you know you could go to college? Well, no, I didn't know that. And so choice is a function of awareness. So he made something aware to me that I didn't know that I could do. And from there, I could make a choice. After my stroke, I had a lot of people telling me what I couldn't do, but there was something welling up inside of me that said, no, I am not going to live that life. And so I said, well, if I could, this was the first time I really could dream, honestly, because I'm a recovering people pleaser. Okay. My background really taught me how to please people very well, and it did not serve me. Actually, led up to the stroke, I was so stressed. A part of my brain just said, "Yeah, no, we're done," and blew up. Don't be like that. Take care of yourself. But during that time after the stroke, I said, you know what, if I could do anything, because I'm literally sitting here, I can't take care of myself. So all I can do is dream. If I could do anything, what would I do? And from there, all of these different options started popping up that I never had before. So I had the space to dream. And from there, I just chose the best one. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And I'll do that. And I'll do that. It was like I was at the cosmic drive-through. Yep. I'll have one of those and one of those and one of those. And from there, it just became, yep, that's what we're doing now. But if I didn't have the awareness that there were options there, if I would have bought into the idea that the doctor was giving me, because a lot of people say, oh my gosh, the miracle is that you recovered from your stroke. And I said, no, actually the miracle is that I didn't listen to the doctor.
Yeah.
And so awareness is so important. And the only way that you can get awareness is when you're exposed to different choices. So this is why I always tell people, pick up a book. Watch a travel show on TV. Talk to somebody different than you've ever talked to before. You've got to do something different so that you can see what options are out there, so that then you can make a choice and begin to travel that journey.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I could just take just that segment right there and just like, that was very good. I like that. Yeah. And I love that you said, hey, the miracle was not necessarily the recovery. The miracle was that I had the wherewithal to not listen to that. That's just, that's awesome.
And so one thing I would offer to your audience is, if you're wanting to understand more about, how do I become that better version of myself? The first thing you need to do is ask yourself, where are you getting your options from right now? Who are you listening to? Is it your family and friends that you've always listened to that love you dearly, but they're probably not going to give you a new choice to move forward, right? Mm-hmm. Is it your, the news? Is it somebody in your life that is trying to be helpful, but they don't know your definition of help, right? So think about who you're listening to and just ask yourself, do I need to listen to somebody else?
Yes. Awesome. And folks, you need to be listening to Michelle, because she is just dropping it on you right now. And I have up on the screen, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. This is her podcast. So let's talk a little bit about your podcast. When does it air and all of that?
Yeah. So mine is a little bit different. Every single day we have an episode. Okay. So it's really geared towards the 15 to 20 minute time frame. We want to give a little bit of a lesson to people as they're driving to work or doing a chore or something at home. We have over 650 episodes now. We really just talk about things that are related to thinking, the brain, the mind, growth in general. A lot lately during the pandemic, we've been talking about stress, how it affects you physically, how it affects you spiritually, mentally, emotionally, giving some tools and strategies for that. So the one thing I usually tell people as their new listeners is listen responsibly. There's a lot there. So I try to, in most of the episodes in the description, we have a search engine. So you can go in and you can, if you want to know more information about a certain topic, use the search engine rather than listening to all 650 because it'll suck you in real quick.
And you know what? If you want to listen to all 650, go ahead. Right?
Yeah, live your life too. Still feed the kids, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Hey, they're going to spend the weekend binging on.
That's right.
But that is awesome. And folks, we're going to also have this in the comments, so you can just click on the link in the comments. So we're talking with Michelle Burkhard, the owner of Grow by One, and we thank you for tuning in tonight. We're just having a really good conversation. Feel free to pop something in the comments if you so desire. So if you had a client, Michelle, who was standing right at the door right now, and they rung the doorbell, ding dong, and they came in the room right now, and I said, so tell us about Michelle and her service, what would they say?
Well, I would turn it right back on them, as is my way. So I'll just be honest with you then. I can tell you all of the wonderful things I do, and your eyes are going to glaze over. So I'm going to turn it right back on you and say, you know what? First of all, tell me a little bit about yourself. What keeps you busy? What keeps you up at night? What issues or challenges are you dealing with? And after I've heard enough from you, then I will tell you what I do. But I won't tell you everything. I'll just tell you the one thing that you really need. And from there, we're going to have a conversation about what does that look like to you and how can I help you in the best way possible. Wow. So I know it's not a canned response, and my website has been down for a little bit because we're even changing things, and I don't even like the idea of giving somebody a brochure. Here you go. I really just want to have that conversation with you, because many times what happens is that I take my toolbox and I realize you don't need a wrench and a hammer. You need a altogether different kind of tool that isn't created yet. So let's create that thing for you to give you exactly what you need.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. That's customization, folks. Michelle, again, is the owner of Grow by One. So what would you say has been your biggest challenge doing your entrepreneurial journey so far?
Knowing who to listen to. So when I first started on this journey, I thought I could do it all on my own. And I was just listening to myself. I'm like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. Did not know what I was doing. So then I started reaching out to mentors who were really teaching me the principles about not only business and being an entrepreneur, but the principles of personal development. And then I just became hooked on that. Like this is who I am. This is what I'm about. And then I will say this, that the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, I've started to listen to myself more, and it's a different listening. It's not an arrogant, it's not, it's what does my heart say? What lights me up? What fills me with passion? Right now in education, there's a lot of contracts that are coming up, and I'm reviewing them, and I'm saying, did I enjoy this year? If I don't, then I'll just say no to it. Sure, it's easy money, but I don't care. I want to do the things that fill me with passion because I know it serves people at a different level. Sure. And so for me, it's really what is my heart saying? So somebody else might say, hey, you've got to go and do this to build your business. Do I? Yeah. Do I have to do that though? So right now my business is really growing more by referrals than anything else. I used to do the social media marketing and things like that, and it was working for a time, but now we're just too busy to do that. I'm too busy to market at this moment, which is a good problem to have.
Absolutely, always a good problem to have, right? Yeah. So leaders come in all different types of packages with different strengths. Yeah. What are, give us 2 or 3 strengths that you believe that all leaders should have?
Communication and relationship building. That is huge. With those two things, you can do anything else in the world. Okay. You can learn anything else. Those two things are very hard to hire out. If you need to do strategic planning, listen, call me. I can come and help you. You don't need to know how to do that. If you need to know how to, vision and get some values together, people can help you with that. Communication is a little bit more difficult because at some point you're going to have to communicate with somebody, even if it's communicating with your communication executive who's going to help you. You still need to be able to communicate. And relationship building is just key. And we all do that in very different ways. And I love how you said leadership comes in all different shapes and sizes and colors and packages. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, as it should. And so understanding ourselves. How do I prefer to communicate? How do I prefer to live life? That's why I think the DISC personality profile is so important to know yourself and to know other people. So I would say those would be the two that you can't farm out. At some point, you've got to learn how to do them.
You got to do it yourself at some point.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. 100% agree with you. So, Michelle, you may not know, but I'm going to tell you on Talk Leadership with Cedrick, we have a segment that's called Would You Rather?
Ooh, okay.
We're going to play a little Would You Rather.
Okay.
Audience, you can play along. Just type in the comments your response to these. So would you rather meet your great-grandparents or your great-grandchildren?
My great-grandchildren.
Great-grandchildren. All right.
We'll plan on that, by the way. Yep.
Okay. All right. Would you rather have a life rewind button or a life pause button?
Neither. I can't say yes to either one of those.
All right. That's a first. So would you rather know all the world's languages or speak with animals?
Oh, well, I can kind of do the speaking with animals already. That's a whole nother story. So learning all the world's languages would be good.
Okay. So we'll have another show called Speaking with Animals.
That's right.
Through Michelle. Okay. Would you rather no one show up at your wedding or no one show up at your funeral?
I don't care if they're at my funeral or not. I won't care. I mean, I've already told my kids are 11, 14, and 16, and I'm sharing all this stuff on social media. Listen, you can put my ashes in a bowling ball. Listen, you can put my ashes in a timer and have it for family game night. You can do this, you can do that. And they're like, why are you doing this? And I said, because I want you to choose. I don't care. Do what makes your heart happy. You want to put me in the ground and come visit me? Great. You don't? That's fine. Do whatever you want.
In a bowling ball?
Hey, a guy just bowled a 300 game the other day, last week, with his dad's ashes in his bowling ball. I'm just saying.
Wow. Okay.
You guys, this is what I'm talking about. Choice is awareness. You didn't even know that before you came here.
Yeah.
You're better off.
I didn't know. That is too much. So Mom is going bowling with us every Saturday night.
That's right.
So would you rather be an adult your whole life or be a kid your whole life?
A kid.
A kid?
If I knew what an adult knows, I would rather be a kid.
Okay. All right. Would you rather have a sports stadium named after you or have a university named after you?
I guess I'll go with the university. No, it's not a life goal, but for this segment, I'll choose that one.
Okay. All right. Would you rather own a private island or own your own private jet?
Private island.
Private island. All right. Last one. Would you rather have $1 million in Amazon gift cards or $100,000 in real money?
$100,000 in real money and invest in real estate and make so much more money. I can buy whatever I want. I can just buy Amazon. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say you can on Amazon now. You can buy just about everything.
That's true.
They even sell houses on Amazon.
Yeah, crazy. You can get a yacht. I was looking at yachts the other day.
They deliver to your front door. Ding dong.
Yeah, I don't know why I was looking at yachts. I'm not ever going to get a yacht. I'm not a fan of the water. So choices.
Yeah, choices. You're right. Well, thank you for playing that segment of Would You Rather. That was a fun segment. So good leaders ask great questions. What has been some of the best questions that either you have asked or someone has asked you and you say, wow, that's a great question.
Yeah. So the one that's my favorite question that I ask kids all the time, what's your plan? What's your plan? So when my son was 2, I had a 2-year-old and a newborn, and there was one day where I went into the bathroom and there's a plastic snake in the toilet. I mean, come on. Who in the house is going to put that in there? I know I didn't do it. I know the newborn didn't do it. It had to be him, right? And something clicked in me, and I realized if I ask him who did it, he's just going to give a protective response and say, not me, right?
Right.
And so I just said, hey, what's your plan? And from there, I realized the power of that question, because it removed we had all these assumptions like, you and I both know what happened here. Right. I'm not going to guilt or shame you. What's your plan? And so it put the focus on where you really wanted it to go, which is forward.
Yeah.
And so I've used that all the time now, to the point where something will happen with the kids and one of the kids will say, don't worry, I have a plan. Okay, great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then my next favorite question that I've been using a lot lately is, what do you want instead? What do you want instead? So I use this with myself all the time. So if I'm, experiencing something that maybe I don't like, maybe a creak in my body or something, what do you want instead? And then once I know what I want, then I know what to do with that. I ask my clients that every single session. Even some of them are coming to the session saying, I've already thought about this. This is what I want. I'm like, great. Why are you here? You probably don't need to be here to be coached. You got it. But that's a really powerful question. What do you want instead? Not just what do you want, but what do you want instead? It breaks you out of the complaining kind of drama mode into, oh no, again, here's another choice.
Yes. Yeah. I love both of those questions. What's your plan? And I'm sure your son was thinking, well, why she didn't ask me who did this?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then, we've used it so much now that the kids just realize it doesn't matter what's happening. Mm-hmm. You can always stop and make a plan. You can always make it better. So I don't care if you make a mistake. It's what do you do after the mistake that really matters.
Yes. Absolutely agree with you. Michelle, a lot of times, and you're part of John Maxwell team like I am, but you know that a lot of times you'll hear entrepreneurs, especially in this space, say, you know what, I don't know if I'm going to make it in this. I might have to go back to, doing what I was doing before or whatever. They just get frustrated. They want to throw in the towel. So what's a couple of pieces of advice you would give them, that person that's sitting out there watching us right now and say, man, Michelle's doing this, and Cedrick, I know you're doing this, but I just can't make it. So I'm gonna have to just throw in the towel.
Yeah. So I might be giving a very non-traditional response here. This is actually something I've been hearing a lot lately. People coming to me for some advice, and there are times when that person is right. You do need to throw in the towel. But here, let me reframe that for you. Sure. So there are some times when you don't have a skill set that you need to be successful. You just haven't learned it yet. And so if you're not in a position, so I'm talking to people who are supporting a family right now. Listen, if you're not in a position to learn that skill and not make money and still support your family, your family comes first, okay? But you need to be very strategic about this. So I have a client right now. He actually has a problem selling. He was in corporate training and he never had to sell himself. He just went and trained. And so now doing his own thing, he has a hard time with sales. So it's kind of a common problem with entrepreneurs doing a new thing. And he was really struggling. And so he said, you know what? I'm taking a year off. And right now he is working as a salesman at a Ford dealership. And he's doing it very intentionally and intensely because he says, I'm going to learn everything I possibly can about selling cars. And then I'm just going to do that about myself.
Yeah.
So you're not throwing in the towel. You're not moving backwards. You are intentionally learning the thing that you need to springboard you into your dream. So I hear it a lot, oh, I'm going to have to go back to corporate to make some money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you are. However, you can use it to your advantage. You can make it actually like your university degree so that you're ready when you come out of that to do your thing.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I do like the different approach that you took to that. When you said go ahead and throw in the towel, I thought you was like telling the person that's on the top of the building that want to commit suicide. You just pushing them, say, "Go ahead."
In that throwing in the towel, we think it's a failure. We think it's a going back. But you can go back to catch lessons you never caught so that you can go forward faster.
Yes.
And some of us need to do that. And some of us, you just need to take a nap, wake up, have a good breakfast, and get at it again.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love that. Audience, tonight we're listening to Ms. Michelle Burkhard, the owner of Grow by One. And you can hear the passion in her voice. You can see that she's a solid, can be a solid coach for you. So if you're looking for some coaching, reach out to Michelle. I'm going to put her email in the comments, but it's also scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Reach out to her, and she may be the person that can help take you to that next level. She may be the person you just might need to have a few sessions with her to talk about what you're doing, how you're doing it, and to think a little bit differently, right? So if you think you're ready to throw in the towel, she said throw it in, but throw it in just to step back and learn some new lessons. Absolutely love it, folks. So a few more questions, Michelle, and then we're going to let the audience get on to other things. But growth, we say that growth has to be intentional.
Yes.
Right. So what do you do for, outside, I know you're getting your PhD, so that's a little bit different, but what do you do for that personal growth for yourself?
Yeah. So I'll be honest, I just recorded a podcast about this last week. And, you said, I know you're getting your PhD. That does not assume personal growth.
Right.
And that's what I really want to help people understand. You can get personal growth from anything and everything. You do not need a degree. You do not need a certificate. You do not need a certification. You do not need somebody's stamp of approval. What you need is a commitment to grow. This morning I went on my walk, and it was a beautiful day, but it was very foggy. I had this epiphany as I'm there, like, okay, sometimes the earth is warm, but the air is cold, and you get these two opposing forces, and they meet, and it's really, really, you can't see through it. And all of a sudden the sun comes out, warms up everything, and you come back into balance, and now you can see again. So it's going to be a podcast episode here very soon, but that was 2 minutes. That's personal growth. And the biggest thing that I see that people struggle with is this, they don't understand that personal growth isn't taking in knowledge. Personal growth is really reflecting on the knowledge that's there. So much like going back to that note taking, I'm not writing down everything somebody's saying. I'm listening for the one thing. And I ask myself, why is that one thing important? And whatever that answer is on the other side, that's what I really need to know. So maybe it was a quote somebody said, and I'll write down that quote. But now I say, why is that quote important to me? Oh, because I really need to be thinking about this. That is personal development, and it must be intentional. So I've got several things I'm working on. I have a coach of my own, actually several coaches. I've got a mentor I'm working with. I have a fitness regimen that I just started recently for lifting weights. Haven't done that in years, so I'm pretty excited about it. There's several different spiritual and emotional things that I'm working on right now. So somebody asked on Facebook the other day, how many hours a week do you spend on personal development? And I counted up, and I'm like, somewhere between 20 and 30. And they're like, what? What do you mean? And like, oh yeah, I'm up at 4 and I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And, all the way throughout the day, there is personal development. After this show, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to say, hey, what was the best part about that show? What did I love? What did I learn? If I'm doing another show, what could I do differently that might make it a better experience for people? that right there is the magic, that reflection time. So it's not taking in knowledge, but it's reflecting on what just happened and how can I go one step farther, grow by one.
There, oh, look at that. I love it. That was just awesome right there. You had me and I'm like, I'm ready to grow by one. This is awesome. So I was going to ask you, do you have a mentor? If yes, what's the impact that mentor has had on you?
Yeah, I have several. And you know what? I'll say this, that we have mentors that as we're growing, we can kind of grow out of those mentors. And so I'm finding for myself, there's a lesser mentors than there used to be. And I have a special group of mentors. I call them my old dead guys club. There's certain books that were written sometimes hundreds of years ago that I'm really, really connecting to, and I consider them my mentors now too. But I think the greatest thing that each one of these mentors has done for me is to get me connected to me more. So realizing what is my purpose, what is my passion, what are my strengths, what is my particular way that I can help and serve people. And then, I'm really connected to this idea of we don't have to learn love. We have to unlearn fear. And so a lot of my mentors are talking to me about unlearning fear so that I can bring that love out in a much more fuller way for myself and for other people. So that I think that idea permeates a lot of my personal growth right now. Wow.
That's awesome. I like that approach and concept to personal growth and mentoring. And I love that you said, hey, sometimes you just have to use the what you called it, the dead club or something?
Old dead guys.
Oh, dead guys. Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes there's a woman in there too, but yeah.
Yes. So I know that, you've had a lot of success in life, in your career and what you're doing right now, but we've also had times where we failed at something.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So give us an example of something you failed at and a lesson that you learned from it.
So this is going to sound very trivial, but I will tell you, this is one of the greatest things that I look back on and I am amazed at. So I know it's not that big of a failure, but when I was in my master's level class, I had a 4.0 and it was the very last class. And you only had 3 times that you had to go. And if you missed one, you were out of luck. And I had to miss this one class. And I thought it was ridiculous anyway, but they were teaching us in our very last class of masters how to use the library. And I was just like, what? This doesn't even make any sense. But the reason why I missed was because my mom was dying. And you have to understand that I was such a people pleaser up until this point that I, even just missing 1 point in school was like blowing my mind. And I didn't have the greatest relationship with my mom. It was always very rocky. There's a lot of abuse and neglect and poverty there. And I knew I just needed to be with her. And so I missed this class. And every time I look back on my GPA and it's 3.97, like big deal, right? But I look at it with this badge of honor that I made the right choice. So it tells me that there are things in this life that, I convinced myself that was a failure, right? That getting that lower grade was a failure. Nobody else in the whole world looks at a 3.97 in a master's and says that's a failure, okay? Right. That's not a failure. Right. But I was convinced of it. And some people would say, hey, school is an important thing, right? However, that was really important. And for me to make that shift was absolutely huge. And so I look back on that and I am so excited about that A- I got in that class.
Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah. A lot of people take that A-.
Yeah, right. I know. Exactly. And listen, I've lost money. I've made bad decisions. I've had failures just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. I have 3 teenagers. Listen, if you really want to know my failures, come to my house. They'll tell you. So, I definitely have failures. It's just that was the one that really stuck out in my mind when you asked the question.
Yeah. I like that. So, my last question for you is, if there was a book that was written about you, what would the title be, and what would the summary in the back of the book say about you?
Yeah, so it's okay. So I'm going to give you one. All right. And it's actually probably going to be a chapter in one of the books that I'm writing here this year. So it's going to be Data and Ducks.
Data and Ducks?
Data and Ducks, a day in the life of Michelle. So here's what happened. So on one day, I, was heavy into the data in my dissertation, and it's all quantitative. So it's a lot of math and it's a lot of statistics, right? So really going at it, and I'm like, okay, I'm actually having fun with this, which surprised me. And then later on, I got a call from a friend. Now, in the last couple of years, there's been some training that I've had in some belief changing modalities. And out of that, a door has been open where I realized that I have certain spiritual gifts that I never knew I had before. Vision being one of them, and the ability to talk to animals. So I did not know that I had that, but apparently it's showing up, and it's just a weird thing. It's not something I want. I do not advertise it on my website. Don't ask me to come talk to your animal. It's just a weird thing that's showing up. Okay.
Are you going to be creating an animal certification talking program?
No, I will not. I'm saying it's a weird thing. It showed up. I didn't invite it. I don't know why it's here, and I don't want it. But so a friend called, said, "Oh my gosh, I've got this duck, and Carmelita, and she needs some help." And long story short, I was able to talk to the duck and figure out that the duck was having a stomach issue. She takes the duck to the vet, says, "Hey, I think it's her stomach." This vet says, "No, it's her respiratory system." 2 days later, she calls me back. She says, "The duck is still very sick." Talk to the duck. The duck says, "Take me to the doctor." Okay, great. Go do your thing. She takes her to a different vet. Sure enough, it's the belly issue, not the respiratory. And they gave her what she needed, and she was healed. And I was like, well, there you go. And one day you can go from data to ducks. This is Michelle's life. This is the craziness. But on the back of the book, it would talk about how living a life where you set goals, you make your plans, you reach your goals, and you also allow the flow of life. So you definitely go after your goals, but allow the flow, and crazy is going to come. Crazy will find you.
Yeah.
Okay? We all have a version of a duck that shows up in our life, and you're like, what do I do with this? Go with it. Go with that flow, and just trust it. Trust that all of the things are working for your good. And I love the idea of the goal and the flow being together. You can't have too much goal, because then everything gets all wonky. You can't have too much flow, because then you never get anywhere. You've got to have them together.
Yes. Wow. You have just been phenomenal with the information you provided, with your responses, with the entertainment factor in all of this. This has been an awesome show tonight because of you. So
it's been fun.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I truly appreciate that.
Yeah. One last thing I will tell people: you can do some really amazing work in this world, very serious, life-changing work. Would you please have fun while you do it? Okay. There's absolutely no reason why we should go throughout this life and not have fun. You can do serious stuff and have fun. When you bring the joy, all of a sudden people are like, I got to have more of that. So if you really want to be successful in life, up the fun factor for yourself and for the people that you serve.
Yes, you're absolutely right about that. Absolutely love that. Agree with it wholeheartedly. So, folks, I want you to see Michelle's email. Reach out to her if you need it. We also put her podcast in the comments. I'm going to put it back up on the screen as well, so that you can tune into her podcast. Go and, you're not doing nothing on the weekend, go ahead and do a binge watch, okay, of her podcast, and support Michelle at Grow by One and what she's doing. We're excited that she came on the show tonight, folks. As I tell you every week, make sure that if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Make sure that you're not on the menu. Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. You know, everybody needs a little TLC, and I'm going to see you again tomorrow night with Talk Leadership with Cedrick at 5:30. I'm going to see you Wednesday at noon with Cut the Cord with Cedrick and Joanna Rincon. Then we will see you again on Thursday for Talk Leadership with Cedrick, the Thursday edition. We'll see you Friday morning at 8:30 Central Time for Friday Mental Motivation. Make sure you stay tuned and stay good, stay happy, and we'll see you next time. Thank you guys, and good night. Bye-bye.